The world is standing on the edge of a new kind of global conflict, not fought with weapons, but with tariffs, trade barriers, and the rising heat of climate change. This week, the head of the World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, issued a powerful warning that the world's trading system is heading for major tension, and the cause, she says, is global warming itself. For decades, the WTO has been the referee of world trade, the organization that keeps markets open and ensures that nations play fair. But now, the rules of the game are being rewritten by climate policies, and not everyone agrees on what's fair anymore. In her latest statement, Okonjo-Iweala said that climate policies, carbon tariffs, and green subsidies, while necessary to fight global warming, are creating serious friction between countries. She warned that if nations continue on their current path, the world could face fragmentation in global trade not seen in generations. Her words were sharp. The world must avoid turning climate action into a new form of protectionism. In other words, saving the planet shouldn't mean punishing developing countries. The tension is already visible. The European Union's new Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or CBAM, will soon tax imports like steel, cement, and fertilizers based on their carbon footprint. Supporters say it's a bold step to cut emissions, but critics, especially from developing countries, call it a green tariff, a way to make their exports more expensive and less competitive. Okonjo-Iweala warned that this could lead to trade wars disguised as climate policy. If we don't align trade and climate goals, she said, the result will be confrontation, not cooperation. According to WTO data, a full economic decoupling between major powers, like the United States and China, could cut global GDP by as much as 7%. That's equivalent to wiping out the entire economy of France and the United Kingdom combined. And if the world continues to divide into separate trading blocs, one led by the West, the other by China and its allies, the losses could reach double digits. That means less trade, higher prices, and a slower transition to green technology. At the heart of the problem is carbon pricing. Some countries have strong carbon taxes or cap and trade systems. Others have none at all. This creates an uneven playing field. Companies in stricter regions say they're at a disadvantage, while those in lenient regions gain a trade edge. The WTO chief believes that the only way out is global coordination, a shared framework where all nations price carbon in some way, so that trade remains fair while the planet is protected. But there's another layer to this crisis: inequality. Developing nations argue that rich countries built their wealth on decades of pollution, and now they're asking poorer nations to pay the price through carbon taxes and trade barriers. Okonjo-Iweala, who comes from Nigeria herself, made it clear developing countries should not be punished for emissions they did not cause. She called for more climate financing, technology transfer, and fairer trade rules that allow these countries to grow sustainably. Behind the diplomatic language, there's real fear. If trade becomes another battleground for climate disputes, global supply chains could break apart. Prices for food, energy, and raw materials could rise sharply, and as countries scramble to protect their industries, cooperation on climate could collapse completely. The WTO chief also pointed to a positive path forward. She said green trade could become the engine of the next global boom, if nations cooperate instead of compete. Clean energy technologies, electric vehicles, solar panels, and sustainable agriculture could create millions of new jobs, but only if trade rules are adapted for this new era. Her message was simple but urgent. Trade must be part of the climate solution, not its next victim. Right now, the world faces a choice: continue the race toward climate protectionism, or build a coordinated, fair, and sustainable trading system. The clock is ticking. As the planet warms and politics heat up, one thing is clear: the battle to save Earth will not only be fought in climate conferences, but in the corridors of trade. And if leaders fail to act, the next big global crisis might not come from the skies, but from the markets.